Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Hour. My name is Sasha Sheldon, your host of Light, Shadow, and Everything in Between. And today I will be doing this a solo. You'll still be seeing and hearing from my buddy Colin Spencer. It's just getting our schedules aligned. And I was feeling really, really inspired because, the energies have been wild for some time now. But this month feels extra potent. There's just been a lot shifting for me personally, but I've also been a witness to a lot shifting for those very close to me. And I've noticed a lot of certain themes and patterns circling around. And I went ahead too and pulled a bunch of cards. So I'm doing some things I used to do way back when I started my healing business in late 2018. I used to channel for the collective every day, every week, every month. And that is also somewhat in part of what is circling back around for everyone this month. So astrologically, energetically, within this energy of this month of August 2026, there's a lot of echoes and mirroring, maybe even some big life shifts or pivotal moments too of grief, even loss that happened in 2017 around the same time. So it could be exactly August of 2017, but maybe the month before, maybe a month or two after. It takes a while for things to really kick off, but there are probably some really big pivotal moments or some big seeds that you planted back then and things that you took action on that are really showing back up again for you. I know it definitely is for me in many unique ways. And so I'm just hoping, this episode to give some reflection, maybe some extra guidance. I pulled a bunch of cards for the month and then the eclipses, because we have more than one, and I'm sure you have already really been feeling it and experiencing it, probably even if you're not a super highly sensitive person or into all the woo-woo whatnot. I think a lot of us are. I've noticed people who even in my life who don't pay attention to that stuff as much, are feeling a lot of the symptoms. So I found that really fascinating. And I've noticed too, once I started really dive into this work back in 2017, speaking again, so you're gonna stay with me. There's a lot of nuggets throughout this and points or dots that connect, I should say. And so when I started doing all this practice, everything really kicked off for me in a big way that year. I already started having my awakening was before that, but that was the year of my dark night of the soul when I entered that. And it seems to be a pattern of mine, I've noticed. When I go to choose myself, it's the moment when I finally have this, courage and bravery, which are really big Leo themes, right? So Leo stands for, it's also the fifth house in astrology. But yeah, bravery, courage, strength, creativity, children. So it could be a lot of that inner child energy too. It could be really prevalent right now for you. Thinking about having children, your relationship to your children, or just children in general, but definitely inner child. I know I've been working with a lot of inner child stuff myself in the past couple months, for sure. I'm going to continue. Also, inner child, more so inner teen, a lot though, for me as well. It can be also dating, so people you tend to be attracted to and date. So not necessarily your super committed relationships. That's more your seventh house. But yeah, fifth house patterns that you maybe find around dating themes, habits, and then, yeah, people that, yeah, if you're definitely stuck in certain pattern of certain types, right, that you pull into your orbit. But yeah, back in August 2017 of my life is when I had the courage to leave my husband. I asked him for time apart to have a bit of a separation, to hold him accountable, and to get, the goal was hopefully for him to get sober and to really work on himself while I also worked on myself. And I really wanted to prove to myself, it felt really important. I mean, I also wanted him to be his own happiness and for me to be mine, because I was really drowning in the weight of carrying all of his happiness. And I really was starting to notice how much like I was keeping him alive. And so I kind of threw myself the life raft and I took it. And yeah, so I had the courage to move out. I wanted to prove to myself that I could really take care of myself and be my own person for a while, and what it's like to just really hold me, be in my own energy, and yeah, just like get to know myself in that way, because I never had, I just lived with my parents and then went to college, but my parent, I was one of those fortunate ones where they were able to still help me throughout college, right? So I didn't have to, I still worked. I've always had a job since I was like 13. So it's like I still did work, but I didn't have to pay for everything. I didn't have to take out a college loan, so they were still taking care of me, even though I wasn't physically like around them under their roof anymore. And then from that, I went straight into living with Sean. So I had never experienced, like life on my own, getting to know myself like as an adult, like what I actually want. What am I like? What would I be like in my own space? What would my own space look like? Like, can I really do life on my own and for me and really have my own back? All those things that I think are really important for all of us, to really know ourselves in that way. I know we're not all fortunate to really have all of that time, because, life happens, right? When you're making plans. Yeah, so I left, and funny enough, so we had this Leo solar eclipse this month. That was August 12th. I moved out of our house August 13th of 2017. So literally like a day apart. Like it's so wild. Yeah. So that's when I moved out to really be on my own for a bit and holding him accountable and also myself accountable. And you've heard me speak of this in many different episodes or different ways through, if you've, seen me and followed me at all throughout on Instagram throughout the years. But and then he took his life October 2nd. So it really wasn't that much time once I left the house from when he died. And then, so, again, that shot me into my dark night of the soul. And that's when I also chose to really double down right on all of this spiritual work. So Leo for me falls in my 12th house. 12th house rules Pisces. So it is a very spiritual, watery house, very much about the subconscious, unconscious, going internal. It's very, it can be a lot of dream work, highly intuitive, psychic work. It's a very karmic heavy house as well. And yeah, so it's always a very tends for me to be like an emotional month and a time where I really tend to hermit and go inward. And it's a very reflective time for me personally, but I feel like a lot of that has been echoing for the collective, I noticed. So there again, because this month, and especially I feel like that week of the Leo solar eclipse, right? So the middle of August, very much karmically tied to that time in 2017. So it's making us get this, like wave or rush or hit. And again, like having to sit with this old stuff that maybe some of us haven't really sat with since then, and so that can feel like a lot. For me at that time, it was a really big deal. It was a really big, cataclysmic, massive tower death, moment in time for my life. And I feel like a lot of people were going through things around, I know a lot of people were kind of starting to have even like their spiritual awakenings, I want to say even as early as like 2012, 2013. But yeah, I want to say at least like 2014 to 2017 or so were like really big moments. So I know a lot of people, not just me, were going through some big pivotal things at that time. And I know astrologically also back then, a lot of people, and even kind of following someone a year after, there were a lot of unaliving at the time of even like celebrities. So it was a big thing happening on a collective scale. And I've met a lot of people since then. So I know a lot of us have lost people in that way. Right. So again, bringing back like all this grief, whether it's the grief of them, the grief of your life, their life, your dreams. I've been sitting a lot with the grief of more so my life. Like I've grieved so much of him and dealt with the anger and the rage of it all. And yeah, just like his life and what could have been. And now it's like more so still like how much it all impacted my life. So it's kind of sitting with the me before all of that happened. So I was 33 when that happened. I'm 42 now. So I was also reclaiming my dreams, my vitality, my creativity. Like, so also like very Leo themes, like of that inner child or inner teen, that spark, right? The Leo is ruled by the sun, right? So that vitality, hope, joy, creativity, right? I've been an artist my whole life. Like I was so active constantly, even though I was working a full-time job on a TV show, like on the weekends, I was writing with writing partners, shooting comedy sketches with my comedy sketch group, doing photo shoots with my creative team, stuff for magazines. I was working with Sean, like we had our production company, or traveling with him and shooting like music festivals and doing video work for that as well. And I mean, I was just always in that movement, creative flow state constantly. It was just so much around me. And if I wasn't, he's a brilliant musician. So it was like there was always music in the house, and he was always like making something, and that would inspire me. So really reclaiming and sitting with that me then, and missing her a lot. And I've been slowly reclaiming her, especially more so, I want to say the last year and a half or so, as I finally have, I've been Persephone, I finally have risen from the underworld. So now it's just like, okay, now really letting myself get my bearings on what it means to kind of be back here. And so again, and that is a thing that's really coming up for a lot of us. It's like, okay, we can't necessarily go back, right? we are no longer that person or living in that environment. Maybe we don't even have a lot of those people in our lives anymore, and maybe our careers and stuff, like so much has shifted and changed in many different ways. You know, we've lost a lot of people along the way, say since 2017. But if we're still wanting to bring some of those parts like with us, you know, like we, in some aspects, like we still need them and we still love them and want to take care of them and nurture them so that they can like grow into whatever this next version of us is, but letting them to also enjoy the show, right? But then feeling like we're not all fully baked yet into whatever that next version of us is, and like how we want to take up more space, Leo, like be the king and queens of our own lives, to be in the spotlight, to be on the stage, to be in our creative joy. And, you know, it's creativity is expressed in so many different ways in each and every one of us. So you don't have to like be a painter. But that's funny. That is one aspect that has also popped up for me personally. Excuse me. So not only my 33-year-old self, but also my like teen, tween, like 12-year-old self also popped up. That's funny enough. There's another echo for me personally. Like when my family and I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, which is where I'm at right now, from Los Angeles, which is where I was born and raised. So the first like 12 years of my life, lived out there in Southern California. And when we did that move is when last time Saturn was in Aries, and Saturn is in Aries right now. So that's another personal, like, interesting echo for me. And she's been very prevalent. I felt my teenage self very strongly when I was doing the drive across country to come back out here now 3 years ago. But now I feel like, oh, I really need to pay more attention to her right now, and give to her in the ways that no one was able to back then, or had the capacity to, and this town or city like didn't have also the resources that I needed back then to help me. I mean, it still doesn't have a lot of what I need, no offense, Wilmington, but it definitely has a lot more than it did in the mid-late 90s. And so getting back into painting, dance, a big thing. So I'm going to get back into dance class. I'm just waiting for the studio nearby to start their normal schedule again soon. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited. That was like one of the first things when we moved here. I'm like, I want to get straight into a dance class, but I wanted to do like hip hop dancing, and none of that existed here. It's just only either like ballet or I think modern and maybe jazz or tap, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was just nothing what I wanted. You know, I've just always wanted to get into choreography for like music videos and all of that stuff. So that's all I was interested in. Not that much has changed. And so can't wait to get back into hip hop. And do that mirror work with her. So again, there's a lot of this like mirroring energy. Granted, for me, that's like a different thing. But again, this like Leo, what sparks your joy? What keeps that flame or that flicker alive? You know, if it's just a little flicker and you're slowly building that flame, right? What really helps keep that alive and well and flourishing? And, you know, I used to say this a lot to clients when I used to do a lot more of this work one-on-one with people. Like, you know, let them guide you. Like, let your inner child, your inner teen, like, what did they love? Like, what really yeah, brought them joy and made them happy and felt like fun and playful for you. And maybe you'll find it doesn't do quite the same thing for you now because, again, you are a different person in a lot of ways. But I feel like there's so much wisdom in our younger selves where it's like they knew who they were and what they wanted. Like they have so many of the answers, right? Because society, capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, all of it, right? It's just, there's so much power dynamics, control, suppression, oppression of, right, what like our actual heart and soul want and need to flourish and actually live our lives, like actually live them, not just survive them. And yes, our younger selves have so much of that wisdom if we just slow down and get quiet enough to really connect with them and ask them, right? Like, what do you need? What do you want to do today? Like, what would make your day? Like, how can we play together? You know, and like really letting them lead the way. So that can be another big theme also coming up with this Leo. So I pulled some cards, as I said. So specifically with Leo, so there's a lot around healing. And I thought it was so interesting. We have this truth be told with this wise owl and a bunch of hearts coming out of its like center of its chest, and yin card, but in reverse, which I thought was interesting. So that's that feminine energy. And then I even pulled Queen of Cups. So again, like very watery, feminine, super creative energy, and very, can be sensitive, intuitive. But I'm really feeling this, the ways of how we can, again, like really nourish ourselves at this time, mother ourselves at this time, lean into maybe some more feminine ways, so like connecting with nature and again, creativity. So, but the more like actual typical ways of like artistry. So if that is painting, dancing, like I do like photography, ceramics, like really using the hands in any like creative way. You can even do like arts and crafts. Like I'm just seeing that too, you know, like when we're little kids, God, we did so many arts and crafts, right? As little kids, like making jewelry, I like playing with like hair and makeup, like dress up, right? Like just for the sake of doing it. And that's another big thing that keeps coming up that I think is also really prevalent, is allowing the time and space in our lives right now and just creating more of that balance where we are doing these things simply just for the sake of doing them because like we are worth it, right? Our own joy, our lives, like we simply for being alive and who we are is enough of a reason to allow ourselves to just go play for a while, you know, and it doesn't have to be something that we monetize. It doesn't have to be something that is productive for the sake of being productive, right? Like feeding into that capitalistic narrative, like, well, if it's not going to pay my bills, if it's not leading to like getting more clients, or if it's not, then I don't have time for this. And I'm also speaking from experience myself here. Okay. So I'm calling myself out here, but this is something I really had to face and come to terms with these last couple months. Like this stuff really started to kind of peak even in July for me. July starts to be introspective for me as well. Cancer season, usually the watery months, except Scorpio. I feel very much myself in that season. Side note. But yeah, just allowing ourselves to just do the thing because it's enough. We don't need a reason. We don't have to prove that we're worthy of allowing us to have that, right? If it makes you happy, if it's something you really desire, right? It's not like causing anyone harm and you're not like neglecting some massive responsibilities that you need to take care of, then yeah, go take the dance class. Go finally learn how to play guitar and play drums. Oh, that's another thing. I think I've probably signed up for. I wanted to learn how to play drums for as long as I can remember. So, and I just met another female drummer who learned later in life, and just like, oh my God, I have a great teacher for you. It's like, sweet. Yeah, and you don't know what those things will lead to, right? And what doors they'll open up inside of you. Again, not to make it something that like has to be related to your career, but it could just give you other ideas. You can meet other people who maybe change your life in some beautiful way. And it can just give you ideas for the things that you actually do work on, but you wouldn't have gotten it if you weren't such an open channel in that moment, right? Because you weren't forcing it, you weren't controlling anything, you were just in that flow state, and just letting yourself enjoy your life. So that could be something, that's definitely coming up for all of us at this time. And yeah, the truth piece, like those deeper layers of truth again, which could be tucked away and hidden in the past. So whether that is for some of us like back near 2017, or again when we were much, much younger. So it could be that little kid, the little teen, maybe you back in college. It's going to look and feel different for each and every one of us, but I think there's some big truths as well that we're all needing to allow to come to the surface and sit with. And within those, even if it feels maybe a little difficult to sit with, right? Because it'll bring up, again, this grief piece that a lot of us are moving throughout this time this month. But it's needing to have that witness and that release, right? So it can move and not keep you stuck in a stagnant state, or if you also feel like you've been living in this loop that you also cannot get out of. And maybe you've been there for years. And again, hi me. But yeah, allowing that wisdom to really like land and just sit with it. Let it integrate, digest, that takes a moment, right? But to not rush through that process. There's also a lot in surrendering at this time of like things that are leaving our lives need to leave, and allowing that to happen is also a big piece in that. And rest. Like a lot of us have been extremely exhausted. Like this energy has been really, really tiring. And it's funny, it's making me go back to this like capitalistic hustle culture, and it's like gotta go, gotta be productive, gotta do all the things, otherwise what are you doing? What a waste of space and time, right? This horrible narrative that we've all been told and programmed. So like rebelling also against that and really paying attention to our bodies and resting this month has been very important. So I will not be surprised. And yeah, let yourself off the hook if you've needed to take way more naps or just have not had the capacity to do as much as you normally can do. That's fine. Totally normal. We're all feeling it. You're okay. Everything will be fine. It's just what we're all kind of needing at this time. So really slowing down more, taking more naps, maybe going to bed a lot earlier than normal. Maybe you're needing 10 hours of sleep when you normally only need 7, so just really paying attention to that. And I hope you haven't, overwhelmed yourself too much. I know that was something that could have also come up this month, just like double booking yourself days, like just taking on more than you can because of that exhaustion. But then with that too, not being able to sleep. So if you've also just been having a lot of issues with even getting proper sleep this month, that is also very much a thing. So yeah, I know, extremely annoying to be so tired and then yet not being able to get any sleep. It's a little bit of crazy making, but just want you to know again, you're not alone. And yeah, it too shall pass. If you're in perimenopause though, I don't know. That's where we're all needing a little extra TLC. Thank God for acupuncture. Oh man. So yeah, just need a lot more self-care these days. Definitely. But with that too, even we have had this nodal change, right? So collectively, we have our north node, south node. So it's the head of the dragon and the tail of the dragon. And so now for the next year and a half or so, north node is in Aquarius, south node is in Leo, right? So that's why now we will be having all the eclipses now will be in either Leo or Aquarius, and that's why. So this first one that we had in the middle of the month was the Leo solar eclipse, even though the first... oh, God. The first moon that we had this month in Aquarius felt like an eclipse. It almost does feel like we had 3 eclipses this month. That one also really packed a punch. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the beginning of this month, I gotta see, I forgot to look up when Aquarius, yeah, okay. So I think that was actually, so we had the Aquarius full moon, I think it was around July 29th or so. And then that felt like an eclipse, even though it wasn't. But because now we're having these Leo Aquarius eclipses with the nodes there, it feels like a lot. And then this one at the end. So this Friday, we're having our last Pisces eclipse. So the nodes were previously in Pisces and Virgo. So north node Pisces, south node Virgo. So we're just now like wrapping all those up. So the end of this month, we are now closing this big chapter. Again, it feels very karmic though, because Pisces rules the 12th. And again, things will always fluctuate and be a little different for each and every one of us because it depends on like where these signs are in our chart and if we have planets or powerful like asteroids in those, like that'll create a whole different atmosphere for what we're going to experience. Like I don't have anything in Leo in my chart, but it is in my 12th house and I feel it every year. Once Leo season hits, I'm just like, ooh. And yeah, so you still will be experiencing something, even if you don't have anything hanging out in that sign or that house. It still does impact you and affect you in whatever way, in which house that falls in. And so funny enough, again, personally, so those are Virgo rising for me. So that's my first house. So my very like outward facing identity. And my moon is there as well. So like my emotional needs, my feelings, right? Like my body, physicality, like health, even in that way. And yeah, it's very much a part though too of my like outward identity, like wearing, you know, emotions on my sleeve, my emotions on my face. Just being very, very sensitive, you know, cry at everything. And then Pisces is in my seventh house of committed relationships, you know, and that can be, so seventh house rules Libra, or Libra rules seventh house. And yeah, so that can be marriage, but also, you know, your best friends, clients, even, yeah, like your peers. So you're like, can kind of be your like close-knit community. Sometimes people say that's more like 11th. Yeah, business partners. So people that you really, you know, who know you very intimately. And even though that's for me personally, I feel like a lot of us have been experiencing that though when the nodes were there. There was a lot of interesting relationship dynamic things happening in general. And we also were experiencing those eclipses, like a lot of them, a good number of them, when we still had Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, which now they are both in Aries. So that's also going to bring an interesting, like, different flavor to this eclipse, now that those shifted. And again, that like now this is also like the last one that we're going to have in Pisces. So again, it's like this big ending chapter, closing, and moving on. So really thinking of like what you have really been working through the last year and a half, but I want to say at least 2 years, because again, like with Saturn, when that whole time it was in Pisces, such a big deal. Like Saturn's such a, again, karmic, what a karmic teacher of time, discipline, responsibility, accountability. Like, how are you showing up? Are you really doing what you need to do? Are you walking your talk? You know, are you in alignment? Are you in character? Are you in integrity? How are you being responsible for your life? Are you really like doing what you need to do for what it is you want? And for me, for example, like I did show up in that way. Like as soon as Saturn entered Pisces, when I ended my relationship, like I knew the end was coming. The writing was on the wall for a bit. And yeah, as soon as it entered, and I didn't even consciously think of it, but again, I'm always like right in line with astrology. I have been my whole life. When I look at it, I'm just like, oh, yep, okay, there we go. And yeah, so I ended that, and then I just been alone, right? I'm really being with myself to undo a lot of old patterns in partnership, and especially like romantic partnership. And where I need to have more boundaries or see my own red flags, or where I enabled things, you know, the ways that I showed up, particularly more so like in that relationship, because I'd already done a decent amount of work with Sean and the marriage and everything like that. And yeah, like more of like what I want and what I don't want and what I cannot do again, have no interest in doing again in a relationship, and how I would do it differently. And yeah, and like clearing out all the kind of codependent stuff, and yeah, not needing that kind of validation from men anymore, you know, and just being really good, like being alone and fine and peace with myself in that way. And that's been really, really nice. I get to close this, and I've been through this whole time, like just really being with me and not unhealthy or toxic or abusive relationships like I have throughout the majority of my life. So I personally will be really closing that up in an interesting way. I'll be doing it with a friend. We've been doing ceremonies with all of them because it's great. Like, I'm Virgo rising, she's Pisces rising. So we've been like holding these energies together, which has been really, really beautiful to see what we've been navigating over that time period. It feels like a little bit of with endings or deaths, and talking like energetically, metaphorically, are also like rebirths, right? They happen very simultaneously, because I'm getting, there is this birth of, and like still like allowing yourself to imagine, like, what is this? How do you see yourself now after all of this, right? So like, now that this is, a lot of this old energy is going to be like behind you, right? So what can you allow yourself to envision then for this becoming, right? And this new phase, this new chapter. What are your new dreams? Like, are you dressing different? Are you in a new city, new home, new apartment, new kind of partnership, right? Like, what does a partnership look like, feel like for you? How do you want to feel in this new chapter of your life on a daily, weekly basis? How do you just want to feel in general, and not just in partnership, but also just like for, right, yourself, the relationship to self, right? The most important one. And you're just allowing that imagination, like, to dream big. I know that's something I've also been having these conversations with friends, and certain moments where I'm just like, oh man, like, I don't even know how long it's been since I've allowed myself to actually like dream big. And I'll notice that when I see other people, come up with stuff, and they're just like, yeah, I don't know, I just thought it and I wanted to do it, so I did it. And then it, like, their lives exploded in these big ways. I'm like, wow, like, I just how does one do that? So really also like been unraveling the things that have been like blocking that from being a possibility. And so if that also resonates with you, like, what does that look like? Because, and then in this regard, for this Pisces eclipse energy, and this one's lunar, right? So the Leo one was solar. So this one has a lot of moon energy attached to it, which is so wild, because even the Leo one felt so deep and emotional. But we do still have some emotional waters here with this like birthing imagination energy, because I kid you not, right? So we had, I love when the cards do this. I love working with cards, right? So the Leo was this yin in reverse, but Queen of Cups. And this Pisces, which is so interesting too, because Leo, fire, is masculine energy. Pisces, water element, feminine. But yet we have the yang, so the masculine energy, and then King of Cups here. So we got the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups coming up in this eclipse sandwich that we're experiencing this month. And two, again, maybe need to close out any toxic masculine behaviors, right? We all have masculine, feminine within us, right? So maybe the ways that needing to father ourselves, or again, our ways to our own inner masculine structure. Pisces is very watery. It's like spongy, absorbent, hypersensitive, tuned in, can be also like ethereal feeling energy, like high priestess, if you want to think of a tarot representation, like that feels very Piscean to me. So yeah, the ways of needing also still like a safe container, right? Needing healthy boundaries. So that can also definitely be coming up. But again, what are the ways though of maybe having too much like rigid, what felt like boundaries or protection, but actually was a self-imposed prison or a cage, or allowing other people to put you in boxes and then you just stayed there, which I'll talk a lot about this in another solo episode of crazy thing that came up in a session that I received recently. But yeah, in the ways of like needing to let ourselves out so that we can have that rebirth, so that we can allow ourselves to actually finally like imagine and dream, to live in color, right? To live like in full color, like all of them, the full rainbow. And yeah, and then having that healthy relationship to, yeah, just like our masculine side, without it being too maybe overbearing, too controlling, too rigid. Again, yeah, it's like we're really, I think, needing to find this balance, right? If we've got the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups here, right? So really wanting that harmonious marriage, right, between these two watery energies of this masculine and feminine energy of creation, creativity, of feeling the emotional world, of our depths, of our imagination, of our dreams. It's interesting. So I'm trying to ask more of this, the cards that I pulled for Pisces, for all of us. And the yang in reverse, I kept seeing hands like picking, like being very like selective, and then like putting things in order, right? So really kind of somewhat analyzing, really like noticing, and like, okay, all right. And then clearing out the rest, like discarding the rest. So I think it's like knowing what works and what doesn't, right? And like clearing out to create more space. But there's something in that action of like, of really paying attention and like noticing. Because again, like Pisces can be, it can feel very like floaty, right? Can like dissociate really easily, right? Being checked out a lot and like wanting to leave the body, not wanting to be here, or can almost be like maybe sometimes too daydreamy and fantasy, right? When it's in its like shadow form. So like the yang in reverse is just like, remember to like be careful and, you know, actually like be in your body to check in, be a little more conscious and intentional like with your choices, right? And what you're choosing to do. Again, so it's back to that balance though, because we have that also imagine card. So it's like we also are wanting to still let ourselves imagine and dream and be creative with what this new becoming is, right? As we are exiting this Pisces Virgo chapter here. Again, we still have a Virgo eclipse coming up, so we're not like totally done with this cycle, but we are ending it, right? And we're coming to this end. So just it feels like that reminder, just like being still very mindful and intentional. You know, there's beauty in being playful and carefree, but like, you know, but also have some sort of container. But again, yeah, not being like too overbearing or controlling or rigid with said container. Interesting. Okay, so I wanted to go back and just make sure I didn't miss some things with the Leo solar eclipse, because again, this is like setting up a big trajectory for us with this Leo Aquarius energy, right? So this is what we're going to be working with for a moment, right? For the next chunk of time here while the nodes are in Aquarius and Leo. So again, that yin energy too, they were showing me is almost like a mother who lives in that like victim martyrdom energy, just like, oh, I gotta take care of everything, and so always me, can't rely on anyone. It's just like, I gotta do it. But then some part of them is like loving, or at least is so comfortable and familiar being in that role, and that gives them a purpose. But then it's leading to that almost inability to be creative, inability to receive help, healing, or support from others, right? Because it's just like this belief of you against the world. You got to do everything yourself. Can't rely on anyone, right? No one's ever going to show up. Yeah, like you can only depend on yourself. It's giving a little bit of like that energy. So it's like leaning again into more of then how can you actually learn to receive from yourself? So it's like those parts. And I think that's, again, where that healing part is a really big deal for a lot of us, of like tending to that spark and that flame, that creative energy, how we can actually nourish ourselves and mother ourselves. Like, what would the soft, emotionally mature, emotionally available, communicative, understanding, empathetic mother, and that a lot of us don't get to experience, right? But how we can be that for ourselves, and like what do those parts of us need? What kind of support? And like I've been reaching out to other like healers myself, just because I'm like, oh, like I've taken myself. I can do a lot on my own. I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox, which I'm so grateful for. But you know, it's like sometimes you really need someone else to hold some space for you and to reflect things back to you, because you can't see everything yourself, right? And also each person will notice or pick up different things than the next, right? Because also they won't ever be able to notice all the things either in a session. It's just not possible. So yeah, like I've really like going back to allowing myself to receive that support. And that's another big message I've been getting even since July, right? So when your life isn't completely maybe falling apart on the outside, like if it doesn't look like a great tower moment, right? But maybe inside you're actually still dealing with a lot. Yeah, that it's still okay to receive. Like your life doesn't have to be up in flames for it to finally be worth it. Or again, like something you have to prove, like, well, okay, well now, I mean, I lost everything. So like, it's okay. Now I can like accept help from everybody because I literally don't have anything anymore. So yeah, like bring on all the help, you know, whoever wants to help me. Right? Like it's okay to still receive help and support, even when things are, you know, are okay, but maybe it's still not great. And maybe you're still like depressed about something, or again, dealing with a deeper, like another big layer of a thing you've been working on for quite some time, you know, but it's like still feels like a lot. Or again, like I feel like I've taken myself to certain moments, you know, but I'm like, man, I feel like I need someone else to help give me whatever, like push so I can get on the other side of whatever this hump is, or to finally reach the peak of the mountain so I can finally then start walking down the mountain. Yeah, so it's okay. So whatever you need to, and maybe this is just it, that this is the thing to convince you, like, it's okay. Your life doesn't have to look like it's all in flames for you to get help. Like we all deserve help at all times in our lives. It's, you know, it's all relative. If it's feeling like a lot, then it's a lot for you. So don't do it in silence and complete solitude the whole time. Like allow yourself to receive that love, that support, the witnessing, the care, you know, that you are needing. Yeah, it's more than okay. And then the majority, so I even asked just like the month as a whole for all of us, for the collective. And still, it's interesting. So yeah, connecting to the self, to the body feels like a big piece, right? So really taking care of ourselves. yeah, again, the rest piece was a big one. And I think, yeah, just eating nourishing, grounding foods, getting a lot of water. Even that's getting like some sunshine, which also could help with regulating, helping with the sleep issues that we've been having. Hopefully that'll kind of start to get a little better in like a week or two. And then, yeah, so just kind of really continuing to connect to our body, our temple, like what our body needs, what our heart needs, and what we might be carrying there that's needing to be addressed, right? Some old, again, grief, pain, tension, stagnation, what have you. Even like intuition. So I feel like we're be getting a lot of interesting like psychic hits, some downloads, some here and there, some like moments of clarity to some maybe like big questions that some of us have been asking or praying for answers to. But I feel like we're still not getting the whole enchilada, you know? So not like rushing either to making all the changes. But yeah, like some of the pieces are clicking, are starting to land, the more that, again, that we are creating the time and space to do so, to allow those things to come in. And yeah, what, like personal freedom, again, like that heart space, that playfulness, like what makes you feel more free, more happy, more playful. And maybe, again, it's like going back to those parts that maybe have felt like they've been in a cage or a prison or a box, and maybe they've been there for a very long time. And that could also bring up a lot of grief, right? If they've been like waiting for us to find them and they've just, yeah, been stuck there. You know, but the important thing is like we finally go back, like we do go back to find them and take them out of that space and bring them back to life. And I feel like within that, like they will have a lot of those keys for us that we're needing to take with us into that new becoming. Yeah, and what that looks like to be very intentional with them too, like, and getting to know them again, like those parts of you that are coming back, like what is it like to be in relationship with them, you know, and allowing them to integrate, because that takes time. And what does that look like to integrate them, right? You want to honor them through having some like physical things, like I know I'm looking for something for one part of me, like to get either like a sunflower dress or like a t-shirt. Like I was, you know, I mean, I will always love sunflowers, but the much younger me, you know, like I had a room that was just all sunflower theme. I mean, it was huge in the 90s, but you know, like I had so many like different hats with like sunflower prints or big sunflowers on them or clothes. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping my eye out for something for her, so I can honor her in that way. And that's just one way, but I just wanted to, yeah, share that. You know, so like, what does that look like for you, right? It's going to be different for all of us. And yeah, it feels also just like this really big, almost world shift, right? But we're first shifting all these internal parts, right, in a big cosmic, karmic way, so that we can then create this new world, right, that we will exist in, you know, and that's going to look different for each and every one of us. Let me ask what this, because I also got this card is in reverse. I'm going to see. Okay, so in order to like build the new containers for us to grow and expand in and, you know, discover and imagine, right, these new lives for ourselves, we're also needing to make sure that we're emptying out old the old structures and foundations. So aside from like, yeah, what I was kind of hinting to with like a cage or a prison or a box, but like the foundation. So if we built a life, and maybe, and this also could just be the foundation that you started building in 2017 that can no longer hold you, which is totally also relevant for me. Yeah, I just thought like this shaking out of all these like pieces that never really fit and were even like loose anyways and weren't that sturdy or strong, like nothing that really could have stood the test of time anyways. So yeah, just all these like faulty pieces that are needing to be removed from our lives. And again, that goes back to, I know a lot of, it seems like will probably be vanishing, whether it's people or old dreams or maybe jobs or like moving, old belief systems, like working with subconscious, unconscious beliefs, right? Even back to that Leo eclipse, right? That energy around truth be told, right? So these truths that we thought even were truths, but were actually lies, right? Things that other people projected onto us or told us we needed to be, and something we just absorbed as our truth or absorbed as our identity and like build a whole life around it. And realizing like that actually has been slowly killing us or draining us or just, yeah, sucking the life out of us or keeping us in a much smaller version of us, right? And we thought like, well, this kept me safe, or at least I belong somewhere as long as I keep myself small and stay quiet and appear happy and go lucky for everyone else because that makes them more comfortable, or at least I can make them happy, so I'm in service to them. They need me in that way, and it's good to be needed. At least I'm needed, so I'll just keep doing this thing. I'm good at it. So if I'm good at it, that must be part of my purpose, right? Because I can do this, and maybe I can just keep doing this thing, but now it's no. We can't keep doing this thing. This thing is not sustainable. Yeah, so I hope for a lot of us, we're able to sit with all these things and move through it. I feel like there will be a lot of movement if we create this balance and make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, like self-care, really, really big too right now. And yeah, allowing ourselves again to continue to dream, to explore in that way, to imagine, to play. And if we don't even know what we want anymore or what makes us happy anymore, then again, like go back to what made you happy when you were 5, 7, 10, 16. You know, what games did you play? What did you like to make? What were you listening? What music were you listening to? What were some of your favorite movies? Yeah, like what activities were you doing? I think that's always like a good place to start if you don't know yet of exactly what this version of you wants quite yet, or what makes you happy. And if you don't even fully know what you want yet, I think there will be, again, more clarity, more answers will come to you in the doing, in the moving, in the expressing, and the exploring, doing more of the same, staying in the same environments, making an excuse that you don't have the time for it, making the excuse that it's getting in the way of all the other things that you need to do, but it feels like it's time to prioritize yourself, that you are a priority, not just all the other people in your life or things that you have. Like, sure, of course, I know we all have stuff. Life is not perfect by any means, especially these days, but that you're worthy of it, So if you can find, even if it's 15 minutes to put your headphones on and play some Spice Girls and dance around in your house before you have to go take care of everything else. If that's all you got today, awesome. All the younger parts of you will be so grateful for that. And even the you now will also be very grateful for that. Yeah, I'll be very curious. Please share if some of this is resonating for you, what you've been experiencing this month, what has been coming through for you. Like what's been helping you. I would love to hear, like what things you've been using or like doing for fun and play or to get out of your stagnation. I'd be so very interested to see like everyone's different take on things. And that's another thing to keep in mind too with the nodes now, North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. Pluto is also in Aquarius for the next like 19 years or so. So that'll be interesting as well with like all this transformation energy, because Pluto is very much like transmutation, transformation, power, the underworld, death, sex, taxes, inheritance, really like merging with others. But then Aquarius, very much about the collective, like how to serve the whole, how to really be a part of community, how to help everyone. Like, what are we as individuals here to be in service to everyone, right? So that we're all living, that we're all thriving instead of surviving or just barely hanging on by a thread, or so many people right now and like literally fighting for their lives. So it'll be a really interesting time, especially like with the node there, to see like how this will affect each and every one of us. For me personally, it's in my 6th house of like daily work habits, health, but 6th house Virgo rules that. So it is literally like service work. Like, okay, how are we being of service? Which I think the podcast is also related to tech, very Aquarian. So connecting with all of you and hopefully be of service in this way. At least right now, I feel very inspired to do more of these. Again, circling back to like what I started, like the seed that was planted for me in 2017 with all the healing work on a personal level, which then led to wanting to do more of this for others. But it's, I used to do this stuff all the time in the beginning. But at least in this moment right now, I'm like, I feel like I'd like to at least, do like a monthly video like this. I know I'm doing this one at the end, but I just felt like this month was so important. I hope this will still be helpful and supportive for you, even though it's at the end of the month. But I would love to come on and do one like for September, but actually at the beginning of September. And then if stuff pops up, and just kind of follow the pulse of creativity and inspiration. And like, just see what comes through for all of us. But I love channeling. I love working with the cards. Like for me, this does feel very playful, and like astrology, like all of that does feel like fun and play for me. It's like, ooh, magic and a little bit of like nerdiness for me, but also a lot of magic, which I love. So we'll see, and let me know, please. I'd love to hear any feedback, just like what's been going on, what you're willing to share. And yeah, if you like these, I even am considering, like I used to even do like guided channeled like journeys, meditations to help support with everything that's coming up. So to actually like work with the energy and take you like through a journey that way and see what comes up of, yeah, just what's needing to be witnessed in a even deeper personal layer and what wants to be healed, and like sitting with those parts. So if that feels like something you would also like, I'm definitely considering getting back into that, as well as yeah, it's something I just like enjoy doing for others, and something that just comes, you know, naturally, but also feels really fun for me. I don't know, I'm still, again, I'm experimenting. I don't know yet what I am becoming. But I know I definitely want to continue, like, yeah, doing this podcast and these recordings. I do feel like I love being of service in this way. Definitely suits my projector capacity, which is not much. But also my Gemini stellium in the 10th house. So here we are. Thank you so much for listening and being with me today on Cosmic Hour of Light, Shadow, and everything in between. I really, really appreciate you for watching, tuning in, listening, wherever you are. And I appreciate, please subscribe to any and all the channels, to YouTube, to Spotify, my Instagram page for the podcast, and like, comment, like all of it really does help, so I can continue to do this and be of service in this way and expand, and hopefully, yeah, just continue to help others in this capacity and to inspire and bring some sort of understanding, clarity, support. Yeah, that we are actually in this together. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And until next time, may you continue to find your courage in the shadows, to dance in the light and create beauty with every moment in between. Take care.